Hi students, in this lecture we are going to start with the fifth module, that is structures, pointers and preprocessor directives. So as we have studied that arrays can be used to represent a group of data items that belong to the same type, right? So arrays can hold group of data items which belong to the same type, like they can hold all integer data types, or they can hold all floating data types, or they can hold all string data types, but they cannot have collection of data items of different types, correct? They cannot have group or the collection of data items of different data types, like we cannot mix integer with the float values. If we are storing the integer values, then all the integer values should be stored in an array. We cannot mix integer with float. But sometimes it is required to mix different data types, like if we are storing student information. If I want to store any student information like roll number, his name and his marks and all, then I may require a data type which stores all the data types in a single name. So this cannot be done by using arrays, right? So if you want to represent a collection of data items of different types using a single name, then we have to use a user defined data type which is called structures. So our C program provides an user defined data type which can be used to group or collect data items of different data types, and the keyword used for this is struct. So if you want to declare any structure data type, then you have to use the keyword as struct. Structure is used to group logically related data. So basically it is not the rule, but we usually store all related information in the structure. So as I have told, if I want to store student data like his roll number, which is of type integer data type, and I want to store his name. Name is of type string, right? Because name is set of characters or array of characters. Array of characters in the sense it is string data type. And I want to store his marks also. Marks can be floating value, right? That's why I want to store three information which take different data values, like one takes integer value and the other one takes string and the last one takes floating value. So I can combine all these data types and can be grouped together using the structure. And some of the examples of structure are given here. That is, the first one is student and the second one is date, which contains day, month and year. Then the third example is employee, which contains employee number, name, age and his salary. Then we have time, which contains seconds, minutes and hours. And then we have book, that contains author, title, price and the year. So these are the some of the examples for structure data type. Then what is a structure? How to define a structure? Structures are nothing but a user defined data type which groups different data types into one single name. Then how to define these structures? These structures are defined before the main function. So they are usually not defined inside the main function. They are defined outside the main function. The definition of the structure has following rules. So there are some set of rules in order to define the structure. Let's start with the rules. The template must begin with a keyword struct. So the syntax for the structure data type should always begin with the keyword struct. This is the keyword. So all the letters should be in small letters. Okay, then it should begin with keyword struct and followed by a tag name, or it is also called structure name. So we have to give a name to the structure, as we had used the name for integer values, int a, int b. In the same way, we have to give a structure name for that structure. So struct is the data type, and then we have to give the tag name or structure name, such as student, employee, city, or complex, etc. And the third rule is structure should have some members. So we cannot leave the structure empty. It should have some numbers, and these members defined separately with their data type. Like if I define a structure as student, then that student will have three members. One is roll number. Roll number should be defined as int roll number. And then his name. His name should be defined as string name or character. Character array we have to use. String is not a data type. So character array we have to use char and then name. Then the third one is marks. Marks should be defined as float marks. So these members should be defined separately with their data type and with their variable name. And the template is terminated with a semicolon. So our syntax should always end with a semicolon. So this is the syntax for the structure. See, it is beginning with struct keyword and then followed by tag name. Struct keyword followed by tag name. And then we have to open the curly brace, that is open the flower bracket or open the brace. Inside that brace we are going to define different members like int roll number, then say a char array of name. So like that we have to define all the members, and all these members should end with a semicolon. Okay, and then after defining all the members you have to close the brace. After that brace it should end with the semicolon, because our fourth rule says the template is terminated with a semicolon. So our structure template should always end with a semicolon. So after closing the brace you have to put a semicolon at the end. So this is the syntax for our structure. Okay. So here one example is given. In this example, the data type is struct followed by the tag name. Here the tag name is student. So inside this structure we have three members: int roll number, char name, because it is the array, that's why it is array of character, and then float marks. So you can see that all these members should end with, all these members have ended with semicolon, right? So after defining these members you have to close the brace, and then it should also end with semicolon. Now how to declare structure variables. Now we have defined the structure. Now the question is, now this struct student, now student is the data type. Please listen this carefully. So student acts as other data types, like how the integer data type acts. So student is the user defined data type which contains three members or three values. Understanding? So now the question is how to declare this structure variables. Now I have to create a variable for structure student, right? How I used to create a variable for integer, float and character types. Structure variable declaration is similar to declaration of any other data types like int, char, float, etc. So how we used to declare the variables for int, char and float, in the same way we have to declare the variables for structure also. Usually the structure variables are declared inside the main function. So the structure definition is not made inside the main function, but structure variable declaration is made inside the main function. The declaration of the structure variables involve the following details. The first one is it must begin with the keyword struct. Yes, because in order to differentiate between the user defined and built-in data types, we have to use the keyword struct, because student is our user defined data type, followed by a tag name, of course, because here student acts as the data type. So if we don't specify the data type, then our program becomes incomplete. And then followed by list of variables separated by commas. So in our inbuilt data types, we used to have int a comma b comma c, like this we used to have. So here also we have one extra keyword called struct, and then we have the data type. Here the data type is student, correct? So struct, then student, followed by the variable names you want to have. You can give a, b, c or s1, s2, s3, any variable names you can give, and these should be separated by commas, and at the end you have to put a semicolon. Here we have declared 3 variables, that is s1, s2 and s3. Yes, we have defined the structure and then we have also declared the structure variables. Now how to access structure members? Now my goal is to access roll number, name and marks of the student, right? How to access these members? After declaring structure variables, we can access members of structure variables. So once you declare structure variables, you can access members of structure variables. So members themselves are not variables and they need to be accessed through structure variables. So our student structure has 3 members, but these members are not variables. They have to be accessed through the structure variables, like we have declared the structure variables as s1, s2, s3. So through s1, s2, s3 you can access roll number, name and marks. You cannot access roll number, name and marks directly because they are not variables of structure. Who are the variables of structure student? s1, s2 and s3 are the variables of structure student. Now how to create the link between this member and the structure variable? Because if I want to access members through variables, then I have to create some link between them, right? So this link will be established by using the member operator, that is dot operator. If at all you remember, we have studied this in second module, I think. Different types of operators. We have studied dot operator also. So dot operator is used in case of accessing structure members. So this is called member operator. dot operator is called member operator. So the access of members of structure variables involve the following details, that is structure variable followed by member operator, that is you have to put a dot. You have to specify the variable name and then put a dot and then followed by member name as specified in the template. So the syntax is structure variable dot member name. So in this way you can access, see the example. Our variables are S1, S2, S3. So you can use any one of them. You can use either S1 or S2 or S3. It is of your choice. So S1 dot roll number, S1 dot name. I am not using struct here because I have already declared these variable names. So I don't have to use struct student again. Once I have declared them, I can directly access the variables through member operator. So S1 dot roll number, S1 dot name, then S1 dot marks. So in this way I can access the members of structure data type. I can use S2 also, S2 dot roll number, S2 dot name, S2 dot marks. So here S1 indicates student 1, so information of student 1, as S2 indicates information of student 2, S3 indicates information of student 3. So you can see that by using only one structure student, I can access different number of students information. I don't have to repeat the same code again and again, right? So I can reuse the code by using the structure concept. Now what is the difference between arrays and structures? So both arrays and structures are classified as structure data types, in the sense user defined data types. Both are user defined, both arrays and structures are classified as structures data types. And array is a collection of only same data type. As I have told, array can hold only either integer data type or float or character data types. It cannot mix the data types. However, structures can have data of different types. We have seen in the example, right? It is taking the members of different data types. And array is a derived data type, whereas structure is user defined data type. So array is derived data type, in the sense it is already available in C, whereas structure is user defined data type. In the sense the user or the programmer is going to define the structure data type. So since array is derived data type, it behaves like built-in data type. So it behaves like integer or float or character data type, because int, float and characters are built-in data types. So array also behaves in the same way. But in case of structure, we have to design and declare a data structure first, and then variables of that type are declared and used. So in case of arrays, we don't have to declare a structure, or we don't have to declare or we don't have to design anything before using the variables. But in case of structure, we have to declare a data structure before the variables of that data type are declared and used. So these are the differences between arrays and structures. The next concept is how to initialize these structures. We have seen how to declare and how to access the structure variables and structure members. Now how to initialize these structures. There are two types of initialization. The first one is compile time and the second type is runtime initialization. This we have also seen in the concept of arrays, right? Compile time initialization of arrays and runtime initialization of arrays. In compile time initialization, it can be done while writing program to give values for the variables. So, in compile time initialization, while writing the program, you have to give the values for the variables. It means it is fixed. While writing the program itself, you will give the values. The compile time initialization of structure variables must have the following elements. The keyword struct, of course, it should begin with the keyword struct and then followed by tag name, and then it has the variable name. Then we shall have assignment operator, that is equal sign, then set of values for the members of the structure variable separated by commas and enclosed in braces or curly brackets, and then the terminating semicolon. So let us see the syntax. It begins with keyword struct and followed by tag name, and then we have variable name is equal to value 1, value 2, value 3. So, one value for each of the members. So, let us take the same example. Struct student and the variable name is S1. Here struct is not capital S, it is small s, okay, it is a mistake, please correct this. It is not capital S, it is small s. Struct then followed by tag name is here student, and then followed by variable. You can take S1, S2 or S3. For all of these variables you can have different values, okay. For S1, the first value is 101. What is 101? 101 is the value for the first member of the struct student. Who is the first member? Roll number, right? So 101 assigns the value to the roll number, and the second member is name. So Peter. So Peter initializes the Peter value to the member name, and the third value we are assigning is marks 98.72. So here 98.72 indicates it is the marks of the student S1. So now these values will be assigned to roll number, name and marks respectively. So you cannot change the orders here. You cannot put Peter first and then 101 or 98.72 first and 101. The order should be it should match the order of the members in the structure template. If you have declared the roll number member first, then the roll number should be passed first. You cannot change the order of the values. And also partial initialization can be done, like you can just put 101 and Peter. If you don't put any values for the marks, that is also fine. So if you don't give 98.72, then some default values like 0 for int 0.0 for float and double will be initialized by the compiler. So this is called partial initialization. Not all the members are initialized. Only the roll number and name are initialized, and if you don't specify the marks, then compiler will assume some default value like 0. If it is declared as integer, then 0 will be assigned. If it is declared as float, then 0.0006 zeros will be assigned. The partial initialization can be done. Values are assigned in the order and remaining members will not be initialized. So it is not possible for you to skip the second value and jump to the third value. That is, you cannot provide 101 and 98.72. No. You can provide 101 and Peter. You can skip 98.72, but you cannot skip the middle values. Like you cannot skip 101 also, because it has to be in the order. In order you can skip, but the middle values you cannot skip. So if you skip Peter and if you just specify 101, 98.72, then the compiler will try to match the data type of 98.72 to the data type of name. The data type of name is character and data type of 98.72 is float. So there is a mismatch. So it will give an error. Okay. And the second type of initialization is runtime initialization. The runtime initialization can be done either getting the values from the user through the standard input or assigning constant values during execution. So runtime initialization in the sense, we will ask the user to enter the input or we will assign some constant values during the execution. Runtime means after executing the program we are going to enter the input. So usually runtime initialization will be done by using scanf statement. So in scanf the syntax is member data type format specifier and then ampersand variable dot member. So member data type format specifier. What is the data type of the member? So for roll number it is integer. So that's why in our example scanf indicates %d for roll number, because roll number is defined as integer data type, and then we have to specify the variable name, which variable we are using, whether we are using S1, S2 or S3. So here it is S1, S1 dot roll number. This %d belongs to the roll number. So we have to specify the variable name dot the member name. Similarly, we have to initialize the value for name member also. So name is defined as character string or array of characters. So the format specifier for name is %s, because it is array of characters, not just a character, it is array of characters. So it is %s, and for strings we don't have to use ampersand, right? You don't have to use ampersand for strings. So we have skipped ampersand here, and then the variable name is S1 again, S1 dot name. Similarly for marks also, marks is of type float. So it is %f and then ampersand S1 dot marks. Program to read a student data as a structure and display the student information. So this is one example which reads a student data as structure and displays the student information. So this we will see in the next class.